A year ago, I lent my mother-in-law a significant amount of money, $10,000. She promised to repay me immediately, but she kept coming up with excuses, and the money never came back. Then one day, I received a message from her saying, "I'll return the $10,000, come pick it up." Even though the repayment deadline had passed, I was just relieved she was finally offering to pay it back. So, I went to meet her, unaware of what would happen next. My name is Leland, and I'm 29 years old. After marrying Wesley, I quit my job and now work part-time at a cafe. We've been married for 3 years, and though we don't have children yet, I frequently visit my in-laws since our homes are close by. My father-in-law works at a prestigious company, and my mother-in-law is a homemaker. About a year after we married, my mother-in-law started acting differently. It all started with a small incident. One day, as I was cleaning at home, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, my mother-in-law was standing there. "Hello, mother-in-law, is everything okay?" I asked, surprised. "I'm sorry to come by unannounced. I know it's inconvenient," she said, looking uneasy. "No problem, but what's going on?" I asked, sensing she was troubled. "I need to talk to you about something," she said, her face anxious. I invited her in to listen. "I'm sorry to ask this, but could I borrow some money?" she asked hesitantly. "Money?" I repeated, confused. With my father-in-law's stable job, I didn't understand why she would need money. "What do you need it for?" I asked, concerned. "I need to repaint the house. We're a bit tight on money right now," she explained. "But doesn't Dad give you a monthly allowance?" I asked, confused. "Yes, but I spent it on something else by mistake, and now I can't afford the paint. If this continues, your father will be upset with me," she said, looking distressed. "Don't worry, how much do you need?" I asked, unsure of the exact amount. "I think around $3,000 for now," she said, almost apologetically. $3,000? I repeated in surprise. "Please, Leland, I don't have anyone else to ask. I'll pay you back $1,000 every month. Could you lend it to me?" she begged. Though $3,000 was a lot for me to lend, seeing her in distress made it hard to say no. "Okay," I agreed, reluctantly. "Really?" she said, her eyes lighting up. "Yes, but remember, you need to pay me $1,000 each month, okay?" I reminded her. "Of course, thank you so much," she exclaimed, holding my hands in gratitude. As she was leaving, she made an odd request. "Please don't tell your father-in-law about this," she said. "I won't say anything," I promised. "Don't tell Wesley either," she added quickly. "Huh? Not even Wesley?" I asked, confused. "Yes, if he mentions it to his father, it could cause trouble. So, let's keep this between us," she explained. "Wesley won't just blurt it out, but I'll keep quiet as you asked," I said, trying to reassure her. Time went by, and even after 2 or 3 months, she hadn't made any repayments. 6 months later, I decided to go to her house directly. When I rang the doorbell, she seemed surprised but quickly put on a smile and invited me in. "Welcome, Leland, come on in," she said. "Thank you for having me," I replied, sitting across from her. Just as I was about to speak, she quickly asked, "Is it about the money?" "Yes, you said you'd pay me $1,000 a month, right?" I reminded her. "Yes, I remember," she said, her tone becoming tense. "But it's been over 6 months now," I said. Before I could say more, she started crying, covering her face with her hands. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I know I should have paid you back by now, but things have been really tough for me," she sobbed. "I understand, but you have to remember, I didn't just give you the $3,000, I said gently, trying not to push too hard. "I know, I'll pay you back properly, just wait a little longer," she begged through her tears. Seeing her so upset, I decided not to press any further and left without the money. Since I had promised to keep it a secret, I couldn't tell my husband. Eventually, after about a year, she finally returned the $3,000. "Leland, I'm really sorry for the delay, thank you for waiting," she said. I was frustrated but decided to let it go, understanding that she must have been in a difficult situation. 6 months later, she came to me again, asking for $10,000. $10,000? Are you serious? I asked, astonished. "I wouldn't joke about this. Please, Leland, you're my only hope," she pleaded. "Even so, $10,000 is a lot," I began to say, but she interrupted. "I know it's a lot, but I don't have anyone else to turn to. I'm in a desperate situation, she explained, her voice trembling. Seeing her in tears, I didn't know what to do. After the previous loan wasn't repaid on time, I wasn't sure I could lend such a large amount. Why do you need $10,000? I asked. I can't lend it to you unless you tell me why, I said firmly. After a pause, she explained. A friend of mine is seriously ill and needed money for medical treatment. They have no one else to help them, so they turned to me. So you lent them $10,000 for their medical expenses? I asked. Yes, but that money belongs to my husband. I need to pay it back quickly, she said. Why not just talk to your husband about it? I asked, frowning. She slammed the table in frustration. That's not an option. My husband is very strict about money, even though this isn't something bad. He would get furious if he found out, she said, her voice rising in tension. After regaining her composure, she added, please, Leland, I promise this is the last time. I'll pay you back right away, please, just this once. Knowing how strict my father-in-law was about finances and understanding her actions, I reluctantly agreed to lend her the money. A year passed, and I still hadn't received the $10,000. Recently, I found out I was pregnant, and I knew I would have many expenses ahead. I needed the money back, but being in the early stages of pregnancy, I couldn't go to her house. I kept reaching out to her, asking about the repayment, but her responses were vague, and recently, there was no reply at all. It felt like she was avoiding me. I couldn't let this continue, so I decided to talk to my husband. Wesley, can we talk? I said. I started cautiously. I've been keeping something from you. I lent money to your mom. His brow furrowed. To my mom? How much? He asked, clearly puzzled. 10,000, I said quietly. What? Are you serious? Why such a huge amount? Did she force you into it? His voice rose in disbelief. No, it wasn't like that. She had her reasons, and I agreed to lend it, but it's been a year, and she still hasn't paid it back, I explained. You're kidding, right? She borrowed it a year ago? Wesley sighed heavily and grabbed his phone. I could faintly hear his mother's voice on the other end, sounding emotional. It made me feel guilty, but Wesley managed to get her to agree to a repayment plan. The issue was temporarily resolved. The next day, I got a rare call from my mother-in-law. Lillian, I told you not to tell Wesley, she said, her voice accusatory. I'm sorry, but it's been a year since I lent you that money, I replied. Do you think I never intended to pay you back? I've been getting ready to repay you, she snapped. I didn't mean to imply that, but I'm pregnant, and there are going to be future financial needs. I'd really appreciate it if you could pay me back as soon as possible, I said, trying to stay calm. I get that, but that doesn't mean you had to tell Wesley, she shouted. I apologized again, but she wasn't listening. I'll pay you back, don't contact me until then, and don't say anything unnecessary to Wesley, okay? She hung up abruptly. A few days later, after a routine checkup, I was heading home when I saw my mother-in-law walking into a casino. I watched her gamble large sums of money, and anger and confusion rushed over me. How could she be spending money at a casino when she still hadn't paid me back? Had she used the borrowed money for this? I couldn't shake the thought, so I hired a private investigator. It turned out she was deep in debt from her gambling habits. My anger reached a boiling point. She had lied to me, borrowed money, and then gambled it away. I knew I couldn't forgive her, and I was determined to get every cent back. I had Wesley call her again, and a few days later, she texted me, I have the full amount ready, so come and get it. It felt off, but my focus was on getting my money back. I set out to meet her with the intention of making her apologize for what she had done. When I arrived, my mother-in-law looked displeased, and my father-in-law was sitting in the living room, looking tense. She handed me an envelope. Here, Lillian. Let me check it first, I said. I opened the envelope and examined each bill, confirming it was the full $10,000. Suddenly, my father-in-law glared at me. What's with the attitude? After we've helped you, this is how you act, he said, his voice harsh. Helped me? Who helped me? I asked, confused. Can't you at least say thank you? How rude, he scolded, pointing a finger at me. My mother-in-law turned pale, and I immediately realized what had happened. She had made me the villain to her husband and convinced him to give her the $10,000 to cover up her mistake. She had told him I was in financial trouble. My mother-in-law quickly intervened. Please, let's all stay calm. Lillian didn't mean any harm. What's going on here? My father-in-law snapped. You asked for $10,000 because you're having a baby and can't afford it. That's just unreasonable. But, you know. My mother-in-law started, but he cut her off. They say childbirth is expensive, but that's something a couple should figure out on their own, he said angrily. And where's Wesley, that idiot son of mine? As his anger shifted to me, I realized I couldn't hold back any longer. It was time to tell the truth. With all due respect, Father, I didn't come here to borrow money. I lent $10,000 to your wife. I'm here to collect it, I said plainly. What are you talking about? He asked, confused. I just said it. I'm here to collect the $10,000 I lent to your wife, I repeated calmly. What do you mean? He looked stunned, while my mother-in-law began sweating nervously, trying to stop me from saying more. I was done staying quiet. Father, I said, I'm going to be straightforward. Your wife owes me $113,000. She repaid me $3,000, but I'm here to collect the remaining $110,000. I didn't come here for help, I added. He turned to his wife. Didn't you tell me that Lillian and Wesley were struggling with baby expenses? My mother-in-law couldn't look him in the eye. It seems your wife has a gambling debt, I said, speaking on her behalf. What, the casino? He repeated in disbelief. She pretended to need money and borrowed it from me, but she used it to gamble. I don't know if my $10,000 went straight to the casino or if she used it to pay off other gambling debts, I explained. Is this true? My father-in-law asked her, his voice hardening. If it is, you need to apologize to Lillian right now. I interrupted. No matter what, I can't forgive her. After today, I'll be cutting ties with her. The words seemed to shock my mother-in-law. She leaned forward, begging, wait, Lillian, it's not what you think. There's a reason for all this. What's the reason? I asked coldly. You were in debt and used my money to gamble. You made me the villain, and now you've dragged your husband into this. I'm done. I'm cutting ties with you, I declared. She continued, almost desperately, but there's more to it. Shut up, I snapped, losing patience. You have no shame. No matter what happens to you, I won't help you. I'll never see you again. You're a gambling addict. I put the $10,000 in my bag and walked out, swearing I would never return. That night, my mother-in-law showed up at my door, crying and kneeling before me. I'm sorry, please forgive me, she sobbed. Apologies won't fix this. Neither Wesley nor I have any intention of forgiving you, I said coldly. Please, don't say that, she begged. I'm sorry, but please leave now. You're causing trouble, I insisted. Mom, it's too late, Wesley said. I can't protect you anymore. Go home. He escorted her out, and that was the last time we saw her. Eventually, my father-in-law announced he would divorce her, but the divorce wouldn't be finalized until she repaid the $10,000 she owed me. Fearing the divorce, my mother-in-law started working, something she had never done before, trying to support herself. Since then, Wesley and I have moved away from her, and we deleted her contact information. We live closer to his work, and we plan never to see her again. We have no bitterness, though, because a new life has entered our family. Now, the three of us are happily living together, and when our child gets married one day, I'll make sure I'm nothing like my mother-in-law. Holding my child close, I made that vow in my heart. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay stunned.